Welcome everyone to an Access Academy webinar from APH. We are so happy to have you join us. This one is completing math assignments with Matt Connect. We are happy to say that this one is available for ACV REP credit, and your opening code word is DESMOS, D-E-S M-O-S. Your opening code word is DESMOS. And as you are joining us, I have launched the poll. Let us know, what is your job title? And you can pick more than one, because I know many of you have more than one title. Where are you from by quadrant of the US? And then how you heard about this webinar. If you can't access that, you're welcome to put it in the chat. If you are also here for ACV REP credit, your opening code word is DESMOS. Your opening code word is DESMOS. D-E-S-M-O-S. Your opening code word is DESMOS. Again, you're welcome to put in the chat who you are and where you are from. And there is a poll available to tell us what is your job title, where you're from, and how you heard about this webinar. We are so glad to have you here. Welcome to the APH Access Academy. This one is completing math assignments with Matt Connect. Welcome, California. Hello, Texas. Glad to have you with us. Good morning, Colorado. Some of you are up bright and early. Glad to have you with us on this Friday morning. I will let you know that there is a poll available. You never know what to say about your job. You're all of those things. Then select everyone that's there. Anything that you think matches you is just fine. It gives us an idea of who's in the audience. Sometimes we get more parents or parent professionals or individuals that might actually not know about the content. And so that allows us to prepare for questions that we might not normally get if it was a bunch of assistive technology specialists that were in the room with us. One more time for the opening code verbally. The opening code is DESMOS, D-E-S-M-O-S, DESMOS. And I am going to stop the poll. It's okay if you weren't able to answer it. And I'm going to read out what we have. A majority are teachers of students with visual impairments, 60%. We have 20% other, 23% orientation mobility specialists, 10% vision rehab and assistive technology, 10% students in a college program, welcome, and a few others. Where you are from, our eastern side wins, and I'm sure that's the time zone that did it to us. So welcome, welcome. We do have some people from Canada and some people from other countries. Glad to have you joining us. And the email from APH is always one of our strongest ways to know. I am going to stop and I am going to turn it over to Paul. Paul, it is all yours.
Thank you. We are so excited to be doing Access Academy now, and this is our second one of those. The Matt Connect got us going early on in our At Home with APH webinars, but now that we're doing this on a more permanent basis, we are happy to transition to Access Academy. So welcome to the first Access Academy with the Matt Connect, completing math assignments with the Matt Connect. Very glad that you're with us today. So what we're going to be doing, our time today, we'll do our introductions, our objectives, accessing math documents using the Matt Connect calculator, submitting math assignments. Your questions will go in the chat. We'll have plenty of time for those. 1.5 hours ACV REB credit, as you know, and we do have closed captioning. We're glad of that. So the Matt Connect, for those who may not know or just might need a refresher, most definitely quota eligible. The price is $2,995. We do have, of course, going along with it, there is the tablet, the stand, the distance camera, the carrying case, the QWERTY Bluetooth keyboard, all part of it. And let's take a look now at our one presenter today, Heyrick Beauchamp, Director product management and HumanWare, done several of these for us. Glad to have him back today to go through it. So our objectives. We're going to practice at least 2 methods to complete a math assignment using the Math Connect. We'll demonstrate 2 techniques to complete a math exercise with the calculator app, and we'll compare at least 2 processes for submitting a math assignment with the Math Connect. So lots of math, we know, and some of the others. Folks have had questions on calculator and how to use it and all those things. So hopefully we get these questions answered today. Eric, it is all yours.
Thank you very much, and I'm very happy to be here today. Awesome to be here. I love the new logo, the new setup you guys did for the Math Connect. And let's dive into it. And we're going to do math today. Awesome. I'm an engineer by trade, so I love math, and I hope that you're going to learn something with me. And I'm going to show you a bit how the Math Connect can be used in completing these math assignments. So let me begin. I'm just going to grab my camera here. It's a separate camera from my laptop, so I'm sorry if it's going to move a bit, but I'm going to bring you with me to my Math Connect.
While you do that, I'm just going to ask if you actually have a Math Connect with you today, can you put a Y in the chat? It's okay if you don't, but just so that we know, if you have a Math Connect with you and you're trying to walk along some of these steps, if you can put a Y in the chat, that lets us know.
Thank you, Leanne, for that. That's true. If you want to follow along, we have the documents. I'm going to use 2 documents, 2 PDFs that are going to be available to you if you want to download and follow along. It's 2 very simple math sheets. One is additions and the other one is a bit more complicated for a bit more advanced mathematics. So we're going to do a bit of algebra also in this. So very cool. So one technique of using the Math Connect is doing it live. I'm going to start off with this because this is the basic. This is how most of you will be using the Math Connect, I'm pretty sure, by having a printed sheet, which I have right now in front of me, the addition with regrouping. Just to make it different than last time. Last time it was a more simple exercise with only single digits. Now we have 3 digits in our additions for each numbers. So main thing you want to do, place a document underneath the tablet. If I can just move the, so I have my document underneath. You can adjust also the height of the tablet by just pulling on the tablet up, and you can also adjust the angle just by moving the 2 arms towards you. And what I like doing when I'm using the Math Connect for live task is, well, I'm going to say task, but writing underneath is I use a small pencil just because of the limitation of the Math Connect, where the space is very limited underneath the camera. You can just use a little nice pencil that you can fit underneath with your hand. So I'm going to click on the magnifier application, and you will see the sheet that I have underneath my camera. Now, when I start something underneath, a manual task, writing, or anything manual, I like to lock the autofocus. And how you do that is, I'm just going to bend the screen a bit so that you see a bit more on the screen better. There we go. Is you double tap on the screen. So I double tap. That will place an autofocus icon, which is disabled on the top right corner. So it's AF with a bar on it. So just double tap on the screen. That will lock your focus to the sheet that you have underneath the tablet. So when you're going to come with your hand, I'm going to have to lift my tablet here so I have more space. But when you're going to come with your hand underneath and start writing, that autofocus will not try to adjust itself to the pen or to the hand when you're starting to write. Now, I have set up my Math Connect using full screen on the magnifier. But there's also another way of using this. The disadvantage of this is that I call it a Star Wars effect, where there's no correction, there's no angle correction. So you see the text going in the back of the tablet. So if you don't like that, if you have difficulty seeing and you don't like that angle, what you can do is you can correct the angle, and it's going to bring the text all straight for you by going into the settings, which is the second icon at the bottom of the screen with the two gears on the icons. And in the settings, you will scroll down the settings and you will find no, you got autofocus locked. And then you're going to find here angle correction, which was disabled. But if you tap on it, it's going to be enabled. And what that's going to do is, you'll see in a moment, you'll see a difference in how the screen will be shown, or in the information on the screen will be shown. So what happened is that, unfortunately, you don't have full screen real estate used, because we've cropped the image to bring that text straight on the screen instead of having the Star Wars effect. So now we can place our hand, we have the autofocus that is disabled for us, and we can place our hand and our pencil and start writing our answer for this first question that we have here, which is 616 plus 644. And what I just did here, I just zoomed using my pinch and zoom here, and nothing changed on the screen. There was no autofocus that was done, and you can start writing your answer. So 6 plus 4 is 10. So I'm going to put my 0 here at the bottom. And then I'm going to bring my 1 on top. And 4 plus 1 plus 1 is 6. And then 6 plus 6 is 12. So this is one way of answering some math exam or math exercise or practice when you're in class and you have your students. But when you're at home, I'm going to show you how we can do the same exercise at home in virtual mode, I can call it. So also, when you're doing some live tasks like that, live writing, and you're in class, you can follow the teacher or follow the presenter who is in front and writing the answers, or teaching you how to do these additions. And how you do that, you want to go and activate your distance camera on the Mat Connect. The distance camera is a Wi-Fi camera, a Kodak Wi-Fi camera. It's called the Kodak Pro SL10, which is a 10x optical zoom. And it connects through the Wi-Fi to the tablet. So how we're going to connect this, and I'm going to show you my camera I have here. But on the top of the camera, there's a little button. You just press on it to turn it on. Once it's on, you can go in your distance application. And since I'm in my magnifier, a cool shortcut is 2-finger, double tap. That will bring you automatically to the main menu or the main carousel. And when you scroll in that carousel, you will find the distance application. And once you tap on it and your camera is turned on, it should connect automatically. And I'm just going to show you this here. Now I have my distance viewing. I have a little blackboard that I've set up my first equation, which we did by ourselves. And I'm going to press the plus button on the bottom of the screen. And I'm just going to hold it until I got my right zoom on my screen. And I can see my numbers very nicely. So what you want to do is, now the teacher or the presenter will start talking and how we can solve our second question, which is 315 plus 962. And you'd like to follow along, then we can split the screen with what we have at the near view. So
Hey,
you have,
Eric,
yeah.
how far is that distance board from your camera at the moment?
I'd say right now it's about 6 feet away, 6-7 feet away.
Okay, thanks.
So, okay, so where was I? I was going to be splitting the screen.
Yes,
But that's okay.
splitting the screen.
Please keep these questions coming along, and I'll try to answer them as we go along if I'm talking about the subject. If
Well,
not,
before
we'll
you split the
try.
screen, I got two more
Yeah.
then. One is a student going to be able to keep columns aligned for place value? And I would make the suggestion that if your student has a problem with aligning their columns, consider using graph paper or lined paper turned sideways, bold lined paper turned sideways to keep columns aligned. So you might actually have to modify the math
Yeah.
sheet before you put
Yeah.
it under the Math Connect, because the
Yes.
Math Connect will not add lines to it.
I love that idea. Why didn't I
Yeah.
think of that? That's awesome. Thank you.
It's because I'm a TVI. This does this. The other one is one person saying their hand seems to get in the way and obstruct the view of their writing. Now, I know one tip I give my students is to learn to tilt their paper sideways. That slant angle that you might have learned a long time ago for writing does help, but it also depends on which is your dominant eye and which is your dominant hand.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And
Your
now
screen.
we're gonna split the screen to have on the top my distance view and at the bottom my near view, my document. And on the side, the left-hand side of the screen, there's a little arrow that you can tap on. So if you tap on that, now we have the distance on top, and we have now at the bottom, we have our document that we saw, and we already have our first answer on there. So I can pinch and zoom at the bottom here. And until I'm satisfied with the zoom at the bottom, and I can follow along, I can adjust my top view here to see the equation on the board. I can maybe zoom out a bit here so that I can see. So my first number will be 7. So I can come and write it underneath here. Right here is 7. But let's say that this split screen view is not right for you. There's not enough screen real estate to have a big zoom, or you're not able to still read what you're trying to write on the screen, and you want to have that more of a screen on there, more screen. So what you can do is I have right now the split screen, but I can choose which one I want to flip to. So I can go to distance or magnifier by one gesture and have that complete screen available for me. Right now, I have my red rectangle around the bottom part of the screen. That means that's where, if I do a gesture, that's where I have my focus on. That's where I can do my gestures. If I would tap on the top here, then the rectangle would change to the top of the screen. That means that I can pinch and zoom on that, and the pinch and zoom on the top part will go only one increment at a time. So what I would suggest in this case, if you're using the split screen and you want to zoom in on the distance part or zoom out, use a little rocker button that's on the distance viewing camera. And that will have a more smooth zooming on the board or on what I'm trying to focus on. So let's say I want to go in the distance. I'm going to tap again on my distance, and I have full screen of my distance. And I'm listening to the teacher, and now I want to answer my question. What I can do, and to flip to the magnifier automatically instead of using my distance, my split screen, I can use my finger and swipe across the screen from left to right. You don't have to go fast, but what that's going to do is that it's going to go automatically to my magnifier. And again, if I want to use my pencil underneath, double tap to have that autofocus block so that it doesn't focus on my fingers or my pen. And then I can continue writing my answer. So 6 plus 1 is 7 again. So I'm going to write my 7. Okay. Okay, I'm not that good. There we go. So we got that 7. And then you want to go back to my distance. Just do the same gesture. I swipe from left to right across the screen horizontally. That will flip between the two applications. It will toggle between the two applications very quickly. So you can have that full screen real estate and zoom in a bit farther in and be more comfortable when answering or doing the math exercise.
So
Once you're
you
done,
definitely answered the question on how to switch, because that question was wondering how can you get more real estate? You can't move the red line, you swipe
yep.
left to right to switch between the cameras. Is it possible to split the camera view on the left and right side of the screen instead of the top and bottom of the screen?
Unfortunately, we can't do it. And the reason why we've stuck with splitting the screen horizontally like this is that you have, again, a wider screen real estate. If I would if I would split it on the vertical, then the screen real estate is a bit smaller on each side. So you have less wording that could fit on the screen. That it's a 12-inch screen. So the more real estate that you have, or the more usable real estate that you need, that you have, is splitting it horizontally, and that's why we've kept it this way. It doesn't, we tried it on the other side and it doesn't really make sense, because then the wording can be split and it's harder to move around around the sheet and knowing where we are. It's a lot simpler by splitting it as we have now.
We have someone who cannot find the white arrow that you have on the left side of your Map Connect. There's a white circle, half circle with a black arrow.
Yes. So
They
that,
do not have that.
if they don't have that, it could be two things. The first thing, when you want to have that little half circle with the arrow, you need to go into your distance application, connect to your distance camera first. Once the distance camera is connected, then this little arrow will show up, and then you can split with the magnifier. If still you don't have that, then what I would suggest is, I'm going to go back to my main menu. Remember that shortcut, 2-finger double tap on the screen? That will bring me back to my main menu. And then scroll to to the right and go to settings, and scroll down to the bottom, go to the about menu. And right now, the most recent, or the latest Prodigy software available is 4.3.0.8352. So if you don't have that 4.3.0, most probably it's because of that. So I would suggest to update your Mat Connect. And how you do that? You connect to your Wi-Fi. And how can you connect to the Wi-Fi is to go into, again, your system, your settings, and then in settings you'll have a system option, and you have Wi-Fi setup. This is where you can connect to your Wi-Fi that is available around you. Once you're connected to your Wi-Fi and to the internet, you go back again to your settings, and in system again, you will find software update. That's how to automatically or manually, sorry, update your Mat Connect. But the Mat Connect updates itself automatically when there's a new update available and you're connected to the internet. Usually there's a pop-up that shows up full screen that tells you there's a new update and asking you if you want to update. So those are the two reasons maybe why you don't have that arrow. If you have those two and still doesn't connect, then we can maybe take it offline and I can help you try to set it up. Okay.
Yep, you did a great job with your split screen and showing us how to go between the two cameras, the distance camera and the near camera. You might be going to get to this already, but are you also going to, or can you also split with a document in the gallery?
Right now we cannot. It's in the works. We're trying to find a solution to this problem. It's just a matter of how Android works. It's not easy doing this, but coming in version 4.4 is going to be a cool gesture that you'll be able to swap between any application that is in Android, that is installed on your Mat Connect. So you'll have a setting inside Prodigy that you can go in and activate this toggle, or this rapid toggle that we named it. And this rapid toggle, you can set up some applications. Let's say you want to toggle very quickly between Chrome and Prodigy, or the calculator in Prodigy and Prodigy, or by itself. Then you can select these application, how many you want, and the gesture will be 2-finger again. Okay, very simple. You have to start your swipe, a 2-finger swipe, on the outside of the screen, so where it's black, really at the end of the screen, start your swipe, and then you move in the screen, and that will toggle between the two applications. That's not available yet. We're working on this, and most probably next month with version of Prodigy 4.4, you'll have access to that. So that's kind of like a nice feature to toggle between applications. But I know there was a lot of people requesting the toggle between documents, and unfortunately we couldn't find a solution for now. And it's not because we don't want to, it's the way that the Android security works. It doesn't allow us to do it for now. So, but there's always a solution to a problem. So that will be coming in future version. I hope that answers the question. All right. Any other questions, Leon?
But you will be able to see them at the same time? Is that? I'm not sure quite what that question was relating to.
You'll be able to, well, this rapid toggle, when you toggle, it's going to be like Prodigy, then you toggle, it would be Chrome full page. And then a bit like what we did with the distance of the magnifier, where you swipe across the screen and it toggles between the magnifier and the distance. It would do the same thing as that, but with other applications.
Okay, I'm going to let you get going and I'll collect the rest of the questions for the next break.
All right, so let's move on. We did some very simple math, but now let's move on to a more complicated math. And I did not turn on my distance camera. It's going to tell me that I did not turn it on, but now I just turned it on. Okay, so let's move on to a bit of algebra now. And I think the documents are available. You can download that. That's math questions. I just did that this morning. And there's a couple of hints that I've written there on my blackboard. And if I zoom in to these hints, and then we're going to start the exercise in a different way, not in a live mode, but kind of like a virtual mode. So the hints. So I have a parallelogram. Parallelogram, it means two sides are parallel. And on this one, it's a specific parallelogram where sides X and Y, which are the top and the bottom, are parallel and also the same size. And also on each side, the left and the right hand side, are the same size. And also the angles are the same. So angle 1 and 2 are the same, and angle 3 and 4 are the same. It's not 1 and 4. If it was 1 and 4 and 3 and 2, that would be a square. But this is, in this case, it's a parallelogram. So that's the hint for the parallelogram. And then I have a triangle. Let me get this straight here. Okay, can you help me here?
Isosceles.
Thank you. I know it in French. It's hard for me in English. Sorry about that. It's my accent. So in this kind of triangle, what you have is that you have two sides that are equal and two angles at the base that are equal. So these are the hints, and that's going to help us in our next math exercise. So what I'm going to do for this math exercise, I'm going to do everything virtually. I don't need anymore my magnifier. I will share to my student or whoever a PDF. So, and that PDF, I'll be sharing it through my Google Drive. And my Google Drive, I've set it up so that I can have access to my Google Drive that's set up on my Matt Connect in the APH Toolbox. Now, sorry, I don't have all the applications that the APH Toolbox has normally. I only have the Google Drive. It's just that a couple of weeks ago, we did a reset of my Matt Connect and I did not reinstall all the applications. But you can add, I'm going to show you how to add some different applications to your APH tool, which is a powerful toolbox for your students. So if you go into your APH Toolbox, right now I only have one application, which is my Google Drive that I've set up. If you want to add more, you go into settings, which is the icon on the top right corner of the screen. And then in that, it's going to ask you to choose an application. So if I tap choose application, you'll have a list of applications that are installed on the tablet. And what you do is that you can go through that list and just tap on the application that you want to add, and you have that checkbox on the right-hand side that's going to appear. Once you're done, just click on the back button on the top left corner of the screen to go back to my APH Toolbox, and I've added Chrome to my list. So that's how you would add the Google Drive if it's not in your list in your APH Toolbox. And why do I want it there? It's just easier to find. It's all in one place. It's all in Prodigy. I don't have to go into Android, try to find my Google Drive on my desktop. Now I know that it's in my APH Toolbox and I can go to it. So what I'm gonna do, I will click on Google Drive, and this is my Google Drive that was set up on this Matt Connect. I'm just gonna do a little refresh here, just in case that I've put in something and it's not there. But I'm gonna scroll here. I have several documents. I'm gonna find the document called Math Questions, which is right here for me. So one cool option that you can activate in your Android system is your magnification gestures in the accessibility of Android. So if you go into Android systems, go into accessibility and activate magnification gestures, that will activate a triple tap. So if I triple tap on the screen very quickly, it's going to magnify my screen. And I can pan using 2 fingers on my screen, and now I can see a lot better what's written there on my screen. So I'm gonna find, which was very close to here, my math question, which is right here. So my math question PDF is right here. I can zoom in a bit farther by, no, not on this one. So what I want to do is that I want to click on those 3 little dots that is on the side of the name of the document. And there's going to be a list that's going to show up. So I'm going to pan to that list, and I'm going to scroll that list, and I'm going to find, whoop, a bit too fast. I'm going to find open with, tap on that, and a menu will appear. In this menu, if I triple tap again so that you guys can see it, I don't want to, there we go. It's going to say open with Prodigy, or you can have other applications that are installed. Here I have Kindle or Drive for PDF Viewer, but I want to open it in Prodigy. I'm just going to choose once, just once, but you can always select the always option. And what that's going to do is that each time you're going to see a PDF, it's going to open it and import it into Prodigy automatically. And then you can view that document in Prodigy. So I'm just going to select just once for now, just because that I'm using this tablet to show how this works. And as you can see, my PDF has been imported into Prodigy, into my gallery, and it's inside a folder, a documents folder called Math Questions, which was the name of my PDF. So if I tap on that, I have 2 pages. Okay, so 1, 2. There's 4 questions that we're going to do together. So I have, so this would be on the teacher's side. I've done it on Word and then converted it into PDF. There's several tools online that can be used to convert everything to PDF. One that I like to use is online-convert.com. That's a very useful free tool that you can use to convert everything into PDF and have basically any accessible PDF inside Prodigy. And I do apologize. I think the PDFs, we checked it this morning. The PDFs that I shared with you guys are not accessible or fully accessible. I apologize on that. Yeah, I'm going to correct myself on the next one. So I'm going to select the first page. So the first question here, I can zoom in and start reading, or I can have my voice on my Matt Connect read it out loud to me. But here I'm just going to read it to you. So the first question, I multiply a whole number by 3. Which of the following could be my answer? And you know, when you're doing some math, you want to leave some traces. So what can we do? I have it all in digital. So what I want to do is I want to tap on the 3rd icon at the bottom in my button banner, just the pen. I'm going to tap on that. And now I'm in the edit mode. So if I want to pan in the edit mode, I'm going to use 2 fingers to pan around in my document. But if I want to start writing, I can use my finger and start writing on the screen, or I can use any stylus. I have one here, a mesh stylus, or a rubber stylus also can work nicely. So a whole number, it says it's any number, which there's no decimal point. So what you want to do is you want to start dividing all these numbers by 3 to see if there is remainders. When you find a number that there's no more remainder, that means that's our answer. Okay, so I can do it manually on the screen. So if I do it 325 divided by 3. So how that works is that I am going to those 300. So if I multiply, so I can have 3, and that's 3, 0. Sorry, see, I did a mistake. That was in
That's
purpose.
okay.
But
You do division different than I do. So it's interesting to watch how you do division. Is
So
that
I
a
can erase.
special Android stylus, or will any
No,
stylus work?
any stylus will work. I prefer, there's different styluses, but basically is this one I have in front of me is kind of like the rubber ones, but it's a mesh that's on the that covers the rubber. And on this one also there is a smaller one, a pointy one, which can be used. I don't really like this one just because it's, oops, I have the eraser on here. Just because that it's a bit smaller, sometimes it doesn't detect it all the time, but it does work. Or there's also the standard one, which is a rubber one. So any real stylus can work on the screen. Okay. So we can make the division manually, or we can double tap, 2-finger double tap, come back to my main menu, and use the calculator. Now in 4.4, remember I was talking about the rapid toggle. This is going to be very helpful with this this kind of procedure where you want to switch between the calculator and your annotation window. So what you want to do is I started the equation. So 325 divided by 3. So I have remainders, so that means that's not my answer. So I can double tap, go back to my gallery, to my math question where I was, and the next one is 326, and then after that it's 327. So we're going to go back to my math calculator. So 326, whoops. I can press and hold the delete. It's going to clear the screen. 326 divided by 3. Again, I still have remainders, so that's not my answer. Press and hold the delete. It's going to clear my screen. 327 divided by 3. That should be my answer, so 109. So my answer is 327. So that's where I can go back and give my answer on my sheet. Oops, select it first. I'm going to zoom in, and I will select the pen. And I can either circle it, or I can maybe use the highlighter. Let's use a highlighter. Use a thin highlighter here, a very thin highlighter. And I'm going to highlight it in magenta. Beautiful. So my answer will be C. So I can maybe highlight C. So I have highlighted my answer. I can zoom in to that to have it bigger on the screen. So that's how you would answer your question. I can circle it, like I said previously. I can go back to my my pen and just again use my stylus and circle the C. So now let's move down, and this is where the hints are going to be helpful. In the diagram, the parallelogram PQRS, here in this question, they are just naming the corners. It is made from 2 isosceles
You did it, isosceles.
isosceles triangles PSQ. So if I go back to my my form, PSQ, okay, and RQS, RQS. The three lines RQ, QS, and SP are the same length. So RQ, QS, and SP are the same length. What is the angle marked by X? So again, those hints that I showed you are going to help us solve this math question. So I can zoom in here. So for my information, so I can maybe summarize all this. R to Q is the same length as Q to S and S to P. They're all the same length. I also have
Can you
Q.
highlight those for us?
Absolutely. I'm going to use the highlighter again. And then I have two angles, so 23, 45, and let's use another color for my, let's use orange, and very thin, that's good. And these here are equal, of an equal length. Good. So if you take a look at this, I have, if this line and this line are equal, that means that, and this line is equal to this line, that means I have two isosceles triangle, one here at the top, one here at the bottom. Isosceles triangle means that the two angles at the base will be equal. So this is where my angles that were given to me are very useful. If I add 45 to 23 degrees, that will, I'm just going to get a pen here, that will give me my angle between these two segments. So that means this angle will be 68. Okay. So this angle will be 68. That means the other angle here on the top will be also 68. Because remember, my triangle is this one here, right here. So this is my triangle. If I just delimit this triangle here, this is what we're trying to solve. Okay, so these two angles are the same, and these segments are the same length. So that's the definition of an isosceles triangle. So what you want to do is that also another knowledge in triangles, the sum of all angles are 180 degrees. So what I want to do, so I have two angles of 68, which I have written here. So I have 168, 268. If I add these together, okay, so that's 6, 1, and 13. And then I take 136, and I'm going to subtract that 136 from 180. And that will give us our answer for, I'm going to show you in a moment. I'm just going to finish this equation. So I'm going to borrow from here. That means it's going to become a 7. That's going to become a 10. And 10 minus 6 will be 4. 7 minus 3 will be another 4. And 1 minus 1 will be 0. So our angle that we're looking for is 44 degrees. So the angle that we just found is this angle right here. Okay, so this is 44. So if this angle is 44, remember also the other hint that I gave you in this kind of parallelogram, these two angles are the same. Okay, so that means if I have 68 on this side, I have 44 on this side. Okay.
So did you have
Oh,
a hint on your board somewhere that was supposed
I
to help
did.
us?
I did. If we can go back, that I started with that. So let me just go back to my main menu again, 2-finger double tap, go to my distance camera. Don't forget to, if it's not
Turn it on.
don't forget to turn it on. And if I go back to my board and I zoom in here, I can use the little toggle button on my distance camera, but these are the hints that I showed at the beginning here. So the isosceles triangle, though the X and Y segments are equal, and the angle A and B are equal. Same for the parallelogram, which I showed, is the Y and the segments Y and X are equal, segments W and Z are equal, and the angles 1 and 2 are equal, and angles 3 and 4 are equals. So those were my hints for the exercise. I can go back to my gallery, go back to where I was here. Now, where was I?
That's because you know the math.
Well, we're having a nice math lesson right now. All right. So we've discovered that this angle is 44 and this angle is 68, and these two angles on the parallelogram are equal. So that means 68 and 44 on one side. So we on the second triangle, isosceles triangle, then you can define your hold on, do we have the answer right now? I think we do have the answer. I don't even have to continue, because that means that if this is 68 and this was 68, okay, I have my 45 and 23, which made my 68. So I have 45. This angle is 45, which is, let me use another color for my pen here. Let's do a red. So I want to determine the angles of this triangle to get my X. So I know all the angles because I got 45, which is given to me, and I have the 68, which we calculated because of that first triangle, because 68 and 68. So that means, and again, I'm using the theory that the sum of all angles in a triangle is 180. I can sum 45, 68, and then subtract that to 180, and I will get my answer of X. So that's what we're going to do. I'm just going to change again my color because red is for correction. So let's use blue. So I said 68 minus 45, which was given to me.
Sure, that's not plus.
Oh, sorry, plus. Thank you. It's still 8 plus 5 is a 13, so 3 and a 1. And then 6 plus 1, 7, plus 4, it's 11. So we have a total of 113, which we're going to say 180 minus 113, which is going to give us our answer. So X is equal to this equation here. So again, 7, borrow, this will be 7, 6, and 0. So our answer for X is 67 degrees. So if I look at my choices, my A is my answer. So I can circle that. Cool, we're moving along nicely. And all this is going to be saved automatically for you once you do the back and go back to your carousel. All my work is saved. It's all on my page. And we can continue to page 2 on here, because this is where it's going to be very interesting. Also, a bit of algebra. We're just going to do a couple because I want to, I'm looking at the time here, moving along quickly, and I want to show you a cool feature on the calculator. But basically, this is kind of like a bit of an algebra question. So solve the following equations, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go in my edit mode, and
You're going to have to make it bigger for us.
oh, yes, thank you for the reminder. There we go. And for myself too. Okay, so solve the following equation. 4x plus 10 is equal to 30. So basically, we're looking for the value of x. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to write what I'm doing, we're just going to do maybe the first and the third one here very quickly. So how you would do the first one would be 4x, and I'm going to move the 10 on the other side of my equation. So 4x will be equal to 30 minus 10. And then I'm looking for my x. So I'm going to move my 4 on the other side of my equation. So x will be equal to 20 divided by 4, because this is a multiplication. So when I'm moving on the other side of my equal sign, I divide, and the same thing for my plus 10, I subtract when I go on the other side of my equal. So my x, my answer for A would be my x is equal to 5. So that would be my answer A. And then let's move on to C, just because we're not running out of time, but time is moving quickly, and I want to show you a cool feature on the calculator. And we're going to do again the same thing. So minus 3 is equal to 16 minus x. So we're looking for x again. So what I can do here, again, it's the same procedure. So I'm going to bring my 16 on the other side. So I'm going to say minus 16, which is equal to minus x. This will give me here minus 19 is equal to minus x. But if I want x, I need to inverse the sign. So x will be 19. And that would be my answer for C. I hope I got this correct. So moving to the next question, graph the following equations. So I've chosen really very simple equations, which is x is equal to sine y. And really, it's just going to give me a sine wave. And that's what we want to graph.
So
And
before you open that calculator, I have a
yes,
question for you.
sure.
Can you split the screen between the math problem and the calculator?
Unfortunately not. It's the same problem that we have with the documents. But like I said, at Prodigy 4.4 with the rapid toggle, you'll be able to use the gesture to toggle between the calculator and the annotation where you are at the in the gallery. So you'll be able to switch between the gallery and the calculator very quickly. For now, that's the only solution I have for that kind of situation.
And can you change the calculator contrast?
Yes, I can. I can show you that also. Any other questions?
Yes. Do the document that you uploaded, are you able to also do that with a Google Doc into
Yeah.
Prodigy?
Yes, the Google Doc, well, you would have to export it and then convert it into PDF.
Okay.
Most of the time you can save it as a docx document or a document, and then convert that into a PDF. Prodigy right now only can convert and import PDFs. So anything you do, it needs to be converted into a PDF before being sent to Prodigy.
And then one more question, and it's an easy one, except I don't remember the answer. What does MAT stand for in Matt Connect?
I can't remember, but I think there was a name of somebody in there. There was an abbreviation.
It was
of the name.
like magnification and technology, but I'm looking for it. So I will let you now move to your x equals sine y.
All right. So what we're going to do is that we're going to double tap again with my 2 fingers to go back to my main menu and scroll to that calculator. You can give yourself a swing and it's going to go to the calculator at the end. Tap on the calculator. And now this calculator, we can do some trigonometry functions. So all the logs, the cosine, the sines, you can get values for that. So a scientific calculator, but you can also configure it as a graphing calculator. This is what I want to show you and how we're going to import that to our gallery to share our answers with the teacher. So what you want to do to maybe change the contrast or maybe change the type of calculator that you want to use, go into settings, and again on the top left corner, there's two buttons. There's the back button and there's a little gear button, which is the settings button. You tap on that and there's several things that you can set up. The first one is the mode, and inside the mode is that you have either standard calculator, which is going to be your standard arithmetic, scientific, which is going to be added the trigonometry functions, but it's only going to give you a value. And then you have the graphing calculator, so which we're going to use now for our example. We're going to select graphing, and that uses the Desmos engine to give us the graph of a function. So I'm going to go back here to my settings. You can change also the grid layout. So there's a grid around the numbers. You can change that, and also you can change the angles units. So you can have different units of angles. You can have degrees, radians, or gradients. So when you're calculating everything with numbers or values, that's where you want to be careful if you want degrees, radians, or gradients. And to change the contrast of your calculator, what you can do is to change the contrast. It's going to follow the contrast of Prodigy. So if I go into my settings application in Prodigy and go into user interface, there are several things here. User interface, you can change the languages, but one of them is colors. If I go into colors, the default is black on white. You can have white on black if you'd like. No, I don't like it right now for the webinar because there's a lot of reflection, but you can choose any other colors here. Let's try black on yellow. And if I go back to my calculator, it should be black on yellow. So everything's on black and yellow, and then you can adjust the grid layout, the color of the grid if you want to. You can, let's see if there's black to have it all in black. There's no black. So there's different colors. If you want to change the colors of the grid, you can do that too. So you can adapt it to different conditions, eye conditions, so, or situations. So right now we're in the graphing calculator. Let me just change it back to black on white, just because it really does less reflection for you guys to follow. I'm trying to go too quick here, and I'm tapping on everything. Okay. So let's go back to our math. So we've set it up to a graphing calculator that can be used now. And how you want to address this question is you want to write the function. So there's several things on this window. There's the numbers, but there's also the XY variable. And then the little hat is for the exponent. Then you have the square root of something. You even have the pi value if you want. And when you're using radians, that's very useful, the pi value. You got the multiplication, division, addition, and the subtraction also. So what we want to start with, the equation that we wanted was x. So I'm going to start by writing x is equal, so the equal sign is right here. And then if you want to have the sine function, you would switch to the next screen of the calculator. And how to do that? At the bottom left corner, there's a button there that has two arrows on it. So you tap on that, and there's all kinds of functions for you available for you. And the first one here is the trigonometry function. So you have your sine, your cosine, tan, sine, whatever you need as a trigonometry function. You can also have the inverse of all these functions. So sine to the minus 1, and then you also have miscellaneous functions, which includes the exponential, the ln, the logarithmic, the mods, everything. And then there's several windows here. There's miss 1, MIS 2, which you can have the floor function, the ceiling function, the round function, and then on the MIS 3, you can even have derivatives and integrations function that you can do. And this will give you not a number, but it's going to give you the graph of that derivative or that integral that can be done. And those for the MIS functions, and also you have the hypothesis, I think it is, functions. So you have sine h, cosine h, and tan h, and other functions in that matter. So for our example, we want to use the sine function. So I'm just going to tap on the sine and then switch back to my numbers, again using the same button at the bottom left corner, and I'm going to put my y here and then finish off with my bracket. And once you're done writing your equation, you can tap on graph, and that will graph the equation for you. Okay, so I think I did a mistake here. It was supposed to be the other way around. I can go back and then delete. I can delete one character at a time, or I can delete the whole thing by pressing and holding the delete. And let's try this again. So y, because it is equal to sine x. I want it on the other side. Oh, finish off with the brackets and graph your function. Now you have your graph. It's in purple because it's the same, and it's going to follow the same color as my grid. Now by zooming, if I'm zooming in, this will zoom into the picture and will change also the values on the screen. And then you can place your finger anywhere on the graph, and it will tell you some important points on the graph. And I can maybe just highlight that, put that in evidence. And then what I'd like to do, and I want to include this into my math assignment, what you can do is take a screen capture of this. There's two ways of doing a screen capture: by using the buttons, which is the power button and the volume up or down. Hold on, will be volume down. So this is one way, or you can also set it so that it's on the bar, the Android bar at the bottom. It's very easy to remember where it's placed. It's really at the bottom, left corner, really at the bottom. And there's a little button. It's not very convenient for low vision, but by doing this process, I've realized that we need something a bit quicker and a bit simpler. So in the next versions coming in the future, I think I'll add a capture button here to have a capture of the screen to be able to import that into our gallery. So we've just taken a screen capture of the function, my graph. So what I want to do now, I want to include into my homework. Double tap, two finger, and I want to go into, I have no choice here. I'm going to have to go into Android, and I want to, what was it? Yes. I think we can do that with, okay. So again, let's meet, I'm trying to do this the simplest way for you. I think we're going to go back to our APH Toolbox here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to add an application that is already installed on my Mat Connect, and it's called Explorer. And here, when I add Explorer and I start Explorer, I see all my folders, and I see everything that's on my.
It's a wee bit blurry for us all
Ooh,
of a sudden.
what happened there?
There you go.
There we go. And we have here. Okay, so let me do this again. I don't know where it went blurry, but I've added the Explorer application on my APH Toolbox. And when I go into Explorer, I wanted to go back to home base, but usually this is what's going to happen. And if I triple tap on this to have it, that's not what I wanted to do. Sorry. Go back home. I'm going to zoom into this to show you what you're going to see. At first is you're going to see internal memory, and you're going to select that. And then if you move down, you should have a folder called screenshots. Let me just zoom out here to get a better view. Yes, you do. It's the last folder at the bottom. So screenshots, and it should be my latest or my most recent one, and it should be the last one in the yeah, should be this one here, the last one in the list. Select that, and I have my screenshot. At the top here, there is is there any questions, Leanne? I did this morning, and
We have some Prodigy questions.
yeah, okay.
When is the Prodigy program update scheduled to happen?
In November.
Okay. And during the next update, you have a request. Can you make the calculator contrast a separate setting? At least you can take it back to the team.
Yeah, okay. I'll write this down.
Now you took that picture and it was on a worksheet that your student had to do. Is there a way to attach it or paste it to that worksheet?
No, exactly. I wanted to import it into Prodigy, and there was let me just, I did it this morning. I don't know why I can't remember it. Too many things in my head. Let me just, so the capture is here. Can I share this? Bear with me. I'm sorry about this.
Eric, we know you're human, and so are all of us when we use Mac Connect too.
And this is why I need to have a simpler method of doing this. And I will add something that will simplify your life in this. Downloads. That could be good. Yeah. Okay, so I think this could work. We can go into an application. Again, you can add this to your APH Toolbox, but you can go into an application called Downloads, and it should be in here. And then you can open it into Prodigy, and it will. Is that what? Yeah, that was the one for this morning, but not the one that I just took. You see my family pictures now. Yes, that's where it was. There we go. It's right here. Okay, I got it. I'm sorry about this delay. So what we've done, I'm going to start over here. We went into our calculator. We've got our sine wave. We've taken a screen capture where you can use either the button combination or activate in Android the little button on the bottom of the screen. You can just press on it and it will take a capture. And then what we want to do is you either include it into your APH toolbox or go into Android using a 4-finger or 5-finger press and hold. Go into your photo application, and you'll have a photo on this device on the top, which is at the bottom here. There's photos, search, or library. And what you want to do is you want to choose library. Now, when you choose library, your top view will be photos on the device. You can see the screenshot that I've taken. So I can go into screenshots. These are all the screenshots that I took recently, but the ones for today, the first one would be on my left-hand side corner. I would tap on that, and I want to That's not what I want. Deselect, deselect, deselect. Okay. That
Well,
doesn't seem
as
to
you're
be
working
working.
through it,
Anyway,
you've got
well,
people who says it happens to me all the time and it will work great after the webinar is
you know,
over.
you know what I'll do? I'll try to get you a procedure and I'll send it over to you guys, APH, and maybe we can share it with the attendees that
Yes.
were on this this webinar. I'm very sorry. I'll write up a procedure once I've got it, but this morning it worked really, really well. And I was able to convert it. That's why. Oh, that's why.
You've
You
just
need to
thought about
convert,
it.
you need to convert it into a PDF. Remember what I was saying?
Yes,
Prodigy
PDF. It's
only
got to be a
understands
PDF.
PDFs. So what you want to do is go into your APH Toolbox, go into Chrome that we've added. And this is the little website that I use to convert my PDFs. It's called online. Here, let me zoom in. All right, so it's online-convert.com. That's a nice little website that I like to use, and that's why it wasn't working. That's why I couldn't find it. We took a snapshot or a screenshot, and it was converting it into a JPEG, and we can't import that into Prodigy. So what we need to do first is to convert that JPEG or that screenshot into a PDF. So here on this page, I'm going to choose Document Converter. And in here, there's a little drop down. I choose Convert to PDF and then Go. And on this page, I will just choose a file. And then there's going to be a pop-up. What I want to choose in this pop-up is a little icon called Documents. Tap on that. And then on here, the first image or the first PNG that you're going to see on the list, because it shows you the recent images that you have or file that you accessed. So the first one is your screenshot. So I'm going to select that. It's going to download it into their thing. And then there's a little button you tap to start conversion. Now it's converting it. Then I can download my PDF and it's going to show me my PDF. So I downloaded my PDF and it brought me to my PDF viewer. If it was Prodigy, it would have opened it into Prodigy automatically. But in my case, it's not doing that. So I'm just going to go on the top of my screen here. Again, I'm going to show you. There's three little buttons on the right-hand corner. Tap on that. And in the list, there is open with, and select Prodigy. That will convert my PDF into my gallery, and now we have access to my screenshot. So what can I do to include this into my homework? This is how I can do it. I can either send it to the teacher, only the graph, or this was my math question here. So what I'm going to do, I will create on the top right corner, there's a little gear box, a little gear button. Tap on that. I will create a new category. I'm going to say homework, just for that. And then I'm going to select my screenshot, press and hold on my screenshot and move it to that category, which is my homework. And I'm going to do the same on my math questions here. So I'm going to do press and hold, move it to my homework. Now everything that I'm doing is all in one folder. So I have my screenshot and I have my math questions. So what I can do to my screenshot, I can press and hold on that screenshot and rename that to, let's say, I think it was Q3 or question 3, and it was A. Question 3A. Now I know that this screenshot is related to my question 3A in my math questions or my math assignment. Okay, so that's how you can do it. That's how you can attach it. Once you're done all your math assignment, there is a cool way to share this homework. Go back to my category that I just created, press and hold on the category, I'm sorry. So I can press and hold on my math questions and share as a PDF. So this is going to convert everything back to a PDF and then share it to my Google Drive, where my teacher, or if you're using Classroom, Google Classroom, it uses Google Drive to access all your homeworks or things like that. Then you can just drop it in automatically. But that by choosing that, it will automatically open Google Drive, and then you can save it wherever. And you do the same thing for your screenshot. Press and hold and share as a PDF, and again, save it in either your Google Drive, or maybe send it out as an email to the teacher. Again, I think this by doing all this, there is a lot to that can be added to be more efficient in all this process. And moving forward, this will be simplified and a lot easier. So this is how you can use a calculator, do some math, some cool math, and everything virtual. You don't need the paper. Everything's on your Mat Connect, and it can be shared also with the person in interest. So if I just go back here, I see that we have like 15 minutes left. If I take a look at the objectives that we had, so participants will participant will practice at least 2 methods to complete a math assignment with the Mat Connect. So I think we accomplished that objective. What we did is that I showed you how to manually do or answer a math question using a pencil. We used the magnifier application, and we disabled the autofocus by double tapping one finger on the screen. That disabled the autofocus so that we were able to use our pen or pencils and answer our questions. And then the second way of answering math questions is to do it virtually. So I'm going to switch here to my camera. There we go. So you can at least see me when I'm talking. And then in virtual mode, then everything has to be converted into PDF. Don't forget that screenshot needs to be converted into a PDF first. And that little website, online-convert.com, is very useful, and to convert everything into PDF. And then you can import everything into Prodigy in the gallery. And then in the gallery, press and hold on what you want to share or what you want to submit, and you'll be able to choose how you want to submit your work, either by email or by Google Drive. The second objective that we had was the person will demonstrate 2 techniques to complete a math assignment with the calculator app. So I showed you how to do a simple arithmetic, and also showed you how to use the calculator to do some graphics, some nice graphics on equations, like we did for our example. We did a sine wave. Then the third objective that we had was a participant will compare at least 2 processes for submitting a math assignment with the Mat Connect. So we have, I've showed you how to press and hold on your document that you want to share and use either the Google Drive or the Gmail to send it out as an email, or just save it onto a Google Drive. When you're using Classroom, Google Classroom, that would be the perfect method to share.
Got a couple questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. When taking a picture of a graph or word puzzle, they're having struggles with Prodigy reading the lines properly. What are they doing wrong?
So if I understand the question, is that they have a puzzle in their hands, and they put the puzzle underneath, and they take a capture of that puzzle. Is that what I'm understanding? I
That's
guess
what
it is.
I'm thinking.
So I think I have one here. I have one.
I'm wondering if the
Which
Star Wars effect is coming into play.
Well, I'm not sure if it's because of the OCR, but or the Star Wars effect, but I have one here example, which is there's a lot of numbers, there's a lot of graphics there, and the only thing that when I take a capture, the only thing what it will do, the OCR will only read or detect the text that's there and nothing at the bottom. It's going to be detected as an image. So what you want to do really, you can't use the OCR or the TTS to listen to what has been detected, but you can disable the OCR result by just going here. Let me switch back to my other cam that I have, and just by giving you just a quick example, I'm gonna take a quick example. So for example, I have the butterfly already as a capture, and what you can do, whoops, don't hit the back button. But you can say here, if you do a swipe on the right-hand side from top to bottom of the screen, you'll toggle to different contrast colors. So negative, positive, and color. So work in color mode. That would help because if you go into diamond edge, what it will do is that it will replace, and I deactivated it, but it will replace that the orange word by another text. And if it did a mistake on that, because there's 2 equals orange, sometimes math is not that good with OCR engines, it will detect something else and it will not be the right string to read out. So I would suggest, if that's the case, just use that simple gesture on the side of the screen to change to color mode and not into OCR or diamond edge, we call it. Oh, you're in mute, Leanne.
Yep, famous words. Okay, so will there ever be a way, or are you working on building either a way to attach a non-PDF file or making a built-in method for that conversion to happen on its own?
We're working in developing an interface for Word documents that could significantly help, and also on the roadmap, but a bit further down. This I'm sharing a lot of information to you guys, but further down in the future, not next year or not the year after, but there's talks of making a word processor for low vision. So.
Very cool. So you have people who were very impressed with how fast you switched documents to PDFs. Some people are having problems with Google Classroom. Another person is wondering about Schoology. Is there a way you could do a webinar regarding using the Matt Connect with sites like Google Classroom or Schoology?
We can maybe set up something, yes. The only thing is that I would have to see if we have an account. I think Peter Tusick has an account of a classroom already made and things like that that we can maybe try to use. That could be a very good suggestion, yes.
Okay, and can you add Schoology as one of those tools? I know you have Canvas on.
Yeah, there was something with Schoology which I can't remember, so I'm not going to say anything right now. I can't remember if it was because of the Android version or there was something else that was not included. Because you have to understand the Matt Connect works on Android, and it's Android 6, yes. So most of the applications are supported, but are maybe different than other Android platforms. But also there's other applications, and I can't remember if it was Schoology, that there are plugins for Chrome. And unfortunately, Android does not support Chrome plugins. So
That's part of it. One person was having a struggle and saying that their student's email won't take. They're saying it's not valid.
the email on the Gmail, it shouldn't. If either there's a typo on the email address, if there's the @ missing, the @ sign missing, or let's say instead of writing Gmail, you've didn't write the Gmail correctly and it can't find the server, that could be something.
And they're stating that that was on the onlineconvert.com place.
You don't need the email to go on the
Yeah, I was going to say I can just get on, so I'm not
free,
quite sure. Jennifer, if you really have a question, Eric is wonderful at answering questions, so you can definitely send him the question to try to figure that one out. She said, okay. Any other questions? I tried to catch all of them. Just making sure that if there's something that I missed, please put it in the chat. And I apologize if I missed a question that was out there. Eric, what is your email? Can you type that in the chat for me?
I will.
See, now they really want to talk to you.
I'm scared of giving my email. No, I'm kidding.
No,
I love helping others. I love all the questions. That means that you guys are using the tools, and also look, something like this webinar that I just did, I found there's a lot of things that can be improved in the process. So it gives you ideas for future versions. So again, keep them coming.
We have another person who's really saying Google Classroom would help. And I think, you know, again, that's a Google, which is not an Android. So that could be, of course, some of the hiccups that they might be experiencing.
I think I just shared that to all panelists, but hold on here.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Copy paste to everyone. There you go. Okay, I'm looking to see if there's any more questions. Hopefully you have got math on your brain and you will get math to your students utilizing the tool, being able to use the board or use their software. Question, Eric, ever consider changing it to a Google tablet? I know Android being open source, I'm sure that's one reason why you were working with Android.
Yes, that's why we chose Google. And no, nothing's perfect in the world. Apple is hard to work with. It's a closed environment. Microsoft is a bit more open, but Google at the time when we designed the Connect 12 was really open, and we could modify a lot of the Android part of things. But when you start modifying the Android part of things, is that you're stuck with the timing of Google. So Google has time frames that you're able to certify the tablet, and if you don't fit in that time frame, then you can't increment the version of that Android, unfortunately. And also the hardware is attached to a manufacturer. Our hardware is attached to Rockchip, and Rockchip manufacturer, if they decide to go at a higher Android level with their drivers, then we can go higher. But unfortunately, the hardware that is on the tablet did not go further than Android 6. So these are the reasons why it's not evolving, but there is talks and solutions that we're thinking of for the future.
Well, that is great. I am going to say thank you, Eric. This has been fabulous. Learn new things, even new math tricks.
And
so
seeing the pro got stuck.
No, that makes everyone feel so much better, actually, that we know that it can happen to everyone. That's normal. That is definitely normal. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.